Okay, let's jump in. We're doing a deep dive into a really specific moment in time, February 1980.
We have this amazing pop culture report from that exact month.
Right. And our mission today is to just quickly pull out those little nuggets, the details that show where society was pivoting right at the start of the decade.
And you can't even begin to talk about that pivot without first taking the vibe check, the national mood.
Which was, according to this report, absolutely electric.
Completely dominated by Lake Placid, the miracle on ice.
Yeah, the U.S. college hockey team beating the Soviets. The report calls them professional machines.
And that's key. It wasn't just a sports win. It was this huge unifying shockwave.
It really set the stage for everything else.
Exactly. It's this massive external collective moment everyone was sharing before they went back into their own homes.
So let's go into those homes.
Right.
What was the culture people were consuming? On TV, it was still all about MN-ish.
The cozy, familiar anchor.
The report even notes it was getting a little heavy in its themes, but it was still, and I'm quoting, the best show on the tube.
So TV was comfort. But the movie theaters, that's where they were selling the future. And a lot of that was about style.
You mean American Gigolo?
Absolutely. The report singles out Richard Gere. He basically walks out of that film and makes Armani suits a national conversation piece. Instantly.
And people were willing to pay to see it, but not without some complaints. This is my favorite detail.
Oh, the ticket prices.
Yes. The sorts actually complained that $5 for a movie and popcorn is getting a bit steep.
Can you even imagine? It's amazing context. But they paid because the options were just so diverse.
Right. You had John Carpenter's horror film, The Fog,
Playing right next to The Jerk with Steve Martin. Total comedy. The audience was already splitting into these different groups looking for different things.
Okay, so let's shift from the screen to the sound. What was on the radio in February 1980?
Well, it was a bit of a battle, really.
You had Queen's crazy little thing called Love.
And then Michael Jackson's Off the Wall was just inescapable. Rock With You was everywhere.
I love how the source describes the Queen song. It says, it sounds like Elvis but cooler.
Which tells you everything, right?
Yeah.
It was the start of this rockabilly revival. It was rock actively fighting back.
Fighting back against disco.
Yeah, the report flat out says disco was dying.
But was it really a clean break? I mean, Captain and Tennille were still on the charts.
Exactly. It proves the transition was messy. It wasn't an overnight thing.
But there was an overnight thing happening in technology. A radical shift.
The Sony Walkman.
I mean, it's amazing how fast this landed. The report calls it a device that fits in a big pocket.
Makes the user look like a cyborg from the future.
Which is such a great image. But the real shift was psychological, wasn't it? It was the beginning of personal, private sound.
100%. This new idea of oral privacy. Your music was just for you.
And speaking of something that's just for you, let's talk about the biggest toy. The Magic Cube.
Or the Rubik's Cube.
It was already, and this is a quote, driving the country insane.
Oh yeah, the frustration was immediate.
The report says you can't even get one side blue after 3 days. It's such a perfect counterpoint to the miracle on ice.
What do you mean?
Well, you have this huge collective national high, followed by this deeply personal individual crushing defeat by a $10 plastic cube.
That's a great way to put it. So that's the moment. February 1980 is this powerful collision, this big, unifying, patriotic feeling.
Set against this new, intensely individual and sort of internal world being created by tech and entertainment.
Right. The Walkman, the Cube, it's all happening at once.
So we want to leave you with a final thought on all this. We talked about that complaint from the report. $5 for a movie and popcorn is getting a bit steep. In a time of such massive cultural shifts, from the comfort of MASH to the futurism of the Walkman, what single item from February 1980 do you think shows the greatest shift in perceived value, cultural or economic today? Something to think about.